What's going on, guys? Ironix Media here, and today I'm yet back with another video. And are you out there and maybe you are looking for a laptop to purchase, or maybe you are even looking for a PC, na maybe unajaribu kutafuta what are the things that I'm going to look for when I'm buying a laptop or even a PC? Well, that is what I'm going to explain today, so stay tuned and let's start the video. The first thing you should consider is the size, and this mostly comes when it comes to buying laptops. You'll find that most of the laptops are very big and some others are very small. I think the smallest PC I've ever seen, which is a laptop, is 13 inches, and the largest I've ever seen was 17. And this mostly depends on what you are going to be doing with it. If it is just doing some basic stuff like watching a movie or maybe something like that, you don't need a very big laptop. All you need to do is just buy a, let's say, 14-inch, 15-inch size laptop, or even the smallest can do, because if at all you watch movie peke yake, I don't think you need, I don't see the reason why you should go for a very big laptop. And apart from that, even if you buy a smaller laptop, you can also opt to project the display from your laptop to the bigger screen whenever you feel like. The next important thing that you should look for in a laptop is or even in a PC is the processor itself. Now you may find that computers za kitambo zilikuwa zinatumia something you used to call a Pentium 4. That is, if you are the kind of person who grew up in like me, mwenye ali grow up kwa enzi za Windows XP. Now those were the processors which were zenye zilikuwa zinasema during those times. But right now we are currently dealing with Core i3, then Core i5 and Core i7, and recently hata niliona in the US they have released the Core i9. But huku Kenya sidhani imefika bado. The other thing you should also consider when looking at the processor is the processor speed itself. And the processor speed itself, it is measured in terms of a unit called gigahertz. And most of the processors these days, they range from 1.5 gigahertz to all the way to 3.3 gigahertz. And so you don't have to go for a very powerful computer, whereas all you want to do with it is just watch a movie, or maybe do the kinds of the basic types of stuff, maybe typing or other word processing basic stuff, na maybe kuweka Excel files zako, or maybe other kinds of documents. You don't have to go for a very powerful computer, kwa sababu on the other hand, when you are going for a very powerful computer, the cost will also increase. The next thing you should look for, and maybe you have heard this from your friends, is the RAM, or maybe in other words, the random access memory. For those of you who don't know what a RAM is, the RAM is a storage device inside a computer system that allows a computer to do multiple stuff at the same time. In order to use a simple scenario to explain the function of the RAM, let us consider you have a table, or let's say a workspace, na kuna kazi hapa unafanya. Let's say hata ni kuandika, unaandika kitu, and maybe there is a workspace there, alafu in that workspace there are some biros, and then there are some books and some other research materials. Now you see, the function of this workspace is to allow you to access anything that you need in order to write and continue doing with your work. Maybe kama ni kitabu unahitaji, unachukua tu hapo kwa space yenye unawakia. Kama ni kalamu unahitaji, unachukua. Kama ni, let's say, even ink, for those of you who still use biros, dip. The RAM does the same thing. It's a kind of a workspace that allows the processor to access anything that it needs, be it any kind of information. And then when a program is running on a computer, it is first of all loaded to the RAM, so that the processor can be able to access it there and therefore you can be able to do anything you want with that program. Let's say ni game unataka kucheza, so when you double tap on that game, it is first of all inaekwa kwa RAM so that the processor may now be able to execute it much more faster. Now the amount of RAM that you have will also determine the number of programs that you can be able to run at the same time without the computer hanging or maybe going into any kind of difficulties. Therefore, more RAM means more programs that you are going to be using at the same time, and therefore your computer will not have any difficulty in trying to access the information it needs. And so when choosing the RAM, you should consider the amount of storage it has. Let's say from 2 GB RAM, 3 GB RAM, or even if you're still using an older machine, you'll have 1 GB RAM. And the good thing about RAM is that with time you can get to upgrade it. The next thing you should look for when buying a laptop or a PC is basically also the hard drive storage. Now when it comes to hard drive storage, these days most of them are ranging from 250 GB, 500 GB. These days ukienda kubuy a laptop or maybe even a PC, there are two types of storage devices. Kuna hard disk drive na solid state drive, which is also called SSD, na ingine ni HDD. The difference between the two is how they access information. Now the hard disk drive uses a magnetic mechanism in order to access the information in the drive. Now the other one uses the same mechanism that is used when in the mem card that you use on your phone, which is just an integrated circuit, and therefore it does not have any moving parts, and therefore information is accessed more fast than this other one, because for this other one the computer will have to first of all rotate the disk platters inside that hard disk so that it can be able to access information which is in those disk platters. The other thing you should know is that just like the RAM, the hard disk can also be upgraded whenever you feel like, and then if you have some extra amount of money, you can go for and opt to buy an SSD or maybe even a hard disk drive, or even go and buy an external drive. Now whether external or internal, SSDs are still expensive than the hard disk drive, and therefore, for example, you're going to find that 250 GB SSD is going to cost you around 6,000, and the 1 terabyte of hard disk is going to cost you the same price. The SSDs have you are going to have a 250 GB SSD on one hand, and then the other hand uko na 1 terabyte of hard disk drive. So hii iko na speed na hii iko na more storage, so it's up to you to opt for one. The other thing you should consider when buying a machine is the cost of the laptop or the machine. Now the cost of the machine will basically depend on the functionality of that machine, the quality of work, and also how powerful that machine is. So there's no need of going for a cheaper laptop, but then kulingana na kazi yenye unaenda kufanya, it's only going to disappoint you. So when you are looking at the cost, you should first of all let's say machine ina cost, let's say 26k, lakini hiyo mashini unapata it has 2 GB RAM, maybe Intel dual core, and then upate it has some very low graphics, na pia the quality of work that it has is very low. And whereas the purpose of buying that machine ni uende ukafanya your stuff like video editing,
Jesus is Lord,
or maybe ufanye web development or creation of apps, it's going to disappoint you. You should also know that you can buy a cheap machine and then you upgrade it as time goes by. Maybe kama ni RAM haikufurahishi, you go and buy another RAM kuja ufix. Kama ni hard disk haikufurahishi, you go and buy one that has a higher storage. ukuje ufix hapo tu and life goes on. Another thing you should look for, and this mostly relates to hiyo mambo ya hardware, is the compatibility. And by compatibility I mean let's say you go and buy a certain hardware. Let's say uende ununue RAM, and the machine you are coming to buy for RAM is the HP Notebook 15. Now, how sure are you that this RAM is going to fit in that motherboard? And how sure is it that it's going to integrate very properly with the machine? Is it a RAM that is going to maybe overclock your machine, or maybe ni RAM itaenda ku overwork machine yako? That is what I'm saying. So yeah, those are the most important things that you should look for when you are going to maybe buy a laptop for yourself, or even maybe a friend, girlfriend maybe. And at least now you know some of the things that you are going to maybe, or you have an idea of the things that you are going to look for when buying this device. Now let me know down in the comments pale chini, down there below, about any other things that you should advise your friend to check for before buying a device. And also remember to subscribe to my channel. I'm still there, Ironix Media. And thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it has helped much of you, and I'll see you in the next video.